Hi everyone, it's me, Ariel, and it's Wednesday Warriors. And this week I'm going to be talking about how to talk to other people in your life about your eating disorder who are not friends or family or significant others. And I'm talking about people like coworkers, people like bosses, maybe teachers, coaches, maybe even society at large if you are a blogger or if there are things that you put out on the internet. I just want to delve a little bit more into the nature of what you tell people, why you might tell them, and just sort of like some guidelines. I do want to start off by saying that this is a very personal decision to disclose your eating disorder to anyone in your life, and what you are willing to disclose. It's not something that I can give you advice on, teach you how to do. There is no right way or wrong way. There is no too much information or too little information. There's no right way to do this. This is a personal decision, and this is really something that you have to trust your instincts about. So you just want to ask yourself some simple questions when you are thinking about talking to someone about your eating disorder. Sometimes there might be a situation that warrants you disclosing something, or at least just briefly touching on the fact that you have an eating disorder, or maybe some aspects of your health as far as that you're in recovery or you're doing well or you're working on something. Other times it's really no one's business. Essentially, it's always no one's business but your business. So when I am talking in this video about talking to other people in your life who aren't friends or family, I'm sort of going with the slant that you have decided that you may want to talk to these people about it, or you might at some point want to talk to these people about it. I'm not implying that you should tell people, or you should tell everyone in your life, or you should tell your bosses or your coworkers or anything like that. There may be times when it might feel natural for you to disclose some information. There might also be some times when you feel that disclosing information about your eating disorder could be detrimental to you, whether that's detrimental to your job or detrimental to your personal life, by way of being bullied, even by adults in some way. So you have to really look at your life as your life and not compare it to what other people may have done or do, and really just figure out what's best for you. Certainly if you want to ask for help in regards to your eating disorder, disclosing certain things can be important. So as far as the nature of this video goes, I really just want to talk about being more open with people, not necessarily talking to these other people in your life by way of gaining assistance. Maybe you want to gain support from them by telling them, or maybe you just want to be less secretive. It's really hard to make a video to benefit everyone's needs or speak to everyone's walk of life. So I do find that I have to generalize in videos, and I hope that you'll understand that I'm not telling you that you should disclose or shouldn't disclose to certain people. The great thing is that you get to make these decisions. This is up to you. You are able to figure out who you want to tell, when you want to tell them, and what you want to tell them. So if you can remember those three things first and foremost, you will be remembering and understanding that you are in control of this situation. You get to do what you want to do with this. This is your story to tell. This is your life. This is your business, and you can do with it what you want to do with it. You can really make a good argument for the more people that know about your eating disorder, especially if you're in recovery, obviously, the less secretive you are apt to be, and sometimes the less secretive you can be, and it can help keep you in check. It can help remind you that other people are looking out for you. It can help remind you that you're really not alone and you're supported. And I think it's good to note that if you are talking to someone like a coworker or a boss, for example, you don't have to give every little detail. Just because you start talking about your eating disorder doesn't mean that you have to start at the very beginning and go through a whole bunch of years and stats and details and history and get to the now point. You can tell whatever you would like to tell, and sometimes that can be 3 sentences. Just want to let you know that I have an eating disorder, I'm in recovery, and I'm doing well. There you go, 3 sentences. You disclose some very personal information. Sometimes it will cause people to ask some more questions, and that can be a really good thing because you get to, again, be in control. You get to be the educator. You get to tell them maybe what you want to tell them. You can also say, you know, I'd really not like to talk about that right now. I hope you don't mind. And sometimes when you do disclose your eating disorder for the first time, you can even add, you know, another sentence onto the disclosure and say, that's really all I want to talk about regarding my eating disorder right now, and I hope you'll understand that. And as long as you sort of come across with the right tone and with the right respect, people usually, if they have tact and they are respectful and they do care about you, they won't press you and they won't push for more information. If you're comfortable telling more information or you're comfortable taking questions, maybe to appease people's worries or to just maybe inform them about something they didn't know prior, then you can let that know in your tone and your delivery. I think it's good to be careful about who you tell and what you tell. And like I said, I don't think it really can be said enough that if you are telling someone about your eating disorder, that doesn't mean you have to tell them everyone. You can simply tell them that you're in recovery and you're working on it, and you don't have to go into more detail than that. I think some people really have an all or nothing attitude. They think they either can never tell, you know, these extra people in their life, like teachers, coaches, bosses, coworkers, etc., about their eating disorder, or they have to tell them everything about their eating disorder. There is a middle ground, and I think sometimes it's almost best to go slowly and easily. If you do decide that you want to disclose your eating disorder, you can simply start off, you know, with a couple sentences like I said, and maybe even follow up with, maybe we can talk about it later, or maybe I'll be ready to talk about it more at some point. And then as opportunities present themselves, you can continue to just give them more backstory if you want to. You can tell them how you're doing if they ask. I think that once they know maybe a little piece, the opportunities will present themselves. And you have to remember, too, that if you do decide to disclose your eating disorder to someone who did not have any prior knowledge of it, you have to be comfortable with the possibility that they may ask questions, because when you're telling someone something like this, you really can't predict what their reaction will be. They may be shocked, they may be curious, they may have lots of questions, they may be very concerned, very worried, and I think that it's important to remember that since we can never predict what other people will say or do, you have to be ready for that in some respect if you are going to disclose something of this nature. It's not really that you need to be on your guard. It's just that you need to be aware that there are many possibilities for what someone can ask or say in response. We are going to be talking about this topic for this week and the next 3 weeks, so I'm not going to delve into everything today as far as ways to talk about your eating disorder, how to approach people. I did do some videos in the past on eating disorders and dating, eating disorders and parents, different relationship aspects of talking about your eating disorder, friendships, relationships, trust issues, things like that. We are going to be talking more about this in the next few weeks, so if there's something that I don't touch on in this video, chances are I will touch on it next week or the following weeks after that. We're going to be talking a little bit about trust. We're going to be talking a little bit about asking yourself why you might want to talk to these people about your eating disorder in the first place, what things to bring up, what things maybe not to bring up, some things to really assess reasons for why you are desiring to talk to someone in the first place. Maybe there is no need, maybe there is a great need, and once you know the why, you'll be able to figure out better what to say and what not to say. I'm going to post the links to the videos that I've done in the past regarding relationships and eating disorders in the info box, so if you're watching this video on my blog or on Facebook or through Twitter or somewhere that's not directly on YouTube, just in the little right-hand corner of the actual viewing box, click to watch on YouTube so you can go and scroll down to that info box that's always below the video itself so you can catch the links to the other videos. Hopefully you'll find them worthwhile if it is something you're interested in as far as dating or significant others or friendships. And then very quickly I want to touch on disclosing your eating disorder to society at large. For me, for example, I'm an open book. I'm completely fine with talking about my eating disorder. I'm completely fine with having people, society at large, know that I'm a recovered individual. It's fine for me, partly because I feel that I have been recovered for enough years that it's safe for me, and as a professional and a writer and an activist and things like that, it's fine for me to be able to maybe give advice. I don't often talk about my personal history. Obviously, it's known, I've disclosed many, many times that I have had an eating disorder and I am recovered, so that's knowledge enough, but my stance is pro-recovery, focusing on the now, focusing on what comes after having an eating disorder. But if you do have a blog, for example, or you are on Facebook or Twitter or some kind of social networking or website where you are thinking about talking about your eating disorder, or you do talk about your eating disorder, you just want to be careful, as with anything, what you're putting out there. Think about who can see it, if you're comfortable with that, if you're not comfortable with that. And again, that all or nothing attitude. You don't have to have the all or nothing attitude. You don't have to disclose every single thing about your eating disorder and recovery, and you also don't have to never say anything about it. There is a middle ground. You get to make the decisions. You're the boss. I'm excited for another topic that we'll be doing in the next couple weeks regarding this, where we talk about the why, because I think asking yourself why you want to talk about your eating disorder or your recovery is very important in getting down to what's right and what's not right for you. For example, if the reason you want to talk about it is to compare or to shock someone, or to get I don't want to say pity, but maybe sympathy, that is sort of a red flag for you to look within and maybe figure out why it's not a good idea to keep talking about certain things. Along those lines, though, if the reason for talking about your eating disorder is to reach out or to get support or to help people understand where you're coming from and the way you see things, maybe to have some discussion about what things are available for you, maybe to just feel less alone, those are all very valid things and can be very beneficial and positive. So there's no right or wrong answer. Everyone has, their own life, their own preferences, but I think asking the questions of yourself first is very vital, and we will talk about that in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned and have a great week, everyone. I will see you next time.